And welcome everybody. Not even welcome back, just welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel or just want to get some help on base building, this will be the video for you, maybe. I don't know. Throughout the amount of time I've been playing this game, I've come across a couple interesting building things that could be helpful, and I thought I'd share them with you. So, we'll be going over building things like this tower over here, clipping them through trees. Little, just helpful tips are a little obscure. Yeah, so let's get on with it. Alright, so first thing we got here is this concrete tower here. Now, these towers, they're useful if you want to like kind of build a watchtower or something, and they're not all that complicated to build. You can also have staircases going up, which is the way to build it. So what you're gonna want to do is go in the structures here, under wood and floors. So you'll start off by placing down a stair. There's two different ways to build this. I will go over both of them for you. And actually not safety, storage space, we'll get rid of this. Alright, so we want to put down a stair like that. This is the first version, and you'll just kind of move that around till it clips. And then after that, you'll want to stay in this menu because you'll be using it, and you just want the stairs to go like that. This tutorial is more if you don't really want stairs going up it. And you'll just repeat this pattern. It doesn't matter where the stairs are, as long as you can get it so it clips. Because these stairs here, they get the bottom and then the top of the next block. So you'll see here, right here, as the top of this bottom concrete block. And we can get rid of that. And nothing's down there. So when you're done, you can just put those in storage, scrap them. And then, if you hold an E, you can move it around. At least for me, if you hold an E. I'll go over that more in a bit. And then you can move it around. And you have a nice tower here. Now, the next version we have, I'll just scrap this again and show you. This one's a little more tricky, but you're going to want to get these stairs and move them in a fashion like this. You will want to be careful though, because after you get to a certain height and you fall, it's not if you fall, it's when you fall, like that, it gets worse. So, you'll kind of want to line it up. You can go a little bit of distance. It's not really best to be jumping while doing that, so you'll just have to kind of work with it. And I find it's actually easier sometimes to place things if you have a little bit of distance. Alright, there we go. So right here we have a staircase going around. Then we'll head back in the floors, get our concrete blocks. And it is a little tricky getting them to clip. Alright, so we got that one there. It's sometimes, most of the time for these kind, it's easier to start in the middle actually. And there. Alright, we have that one now. And I think that's all of them. What else we could do here is just put in like a floor or something. Better yet, if you scroll all the way over and just put down two of those, we can move this over there. I know those two floors, and you want to clip those, there you go. And then this will just slide in under here, and then if you want, you can get rid of those. You only need one of those if you want to do it, but now there's a staircase going around the pillar. Come up here, and you could like put a watchtower or something, or just build a base up above so you can get a good vantage point from all around. I don't want to show you too much minor spoilers. I'll put like a title slide or something to let you know about that. But then you could do this. It's pretty good. Again, fall damage, a slight trick that could potentially help you a bit is if you just come over here and get any fences, and you could just stick them like this. It helps you a bit, however, you can still fall off the side here, and I don't want to fall from too high, because dying in a tutorial would be kind of silly. So, yeah, here are the concrete pillars. Now, the concrete pillars, they can also work with these things here. Again, you'll just put down stair piece, have that clip, move this over, and clip it, and then hold an E, and now it's flush, although it does float a bit. These are not the best, but I mean, it still does work for that. Alright, as mentioned in the last clip, I showed you how to move whole structures, and I will go into detail about that now. So, for this, we'll just want to kind of put in, just any wall will do, just for example purposes. And then also, we could go with and build, a shack of sorts. They all clip, all the walls clip. And actually, just to show you that this does work, very good. Put a roof in, and we can even put a door in. There we go. Alright, so an easy way to move around parts, not whole structures, is if you select it. For me, the select button is Z, I'm on PC, but whatever the select button is, you'll select it so you can move it around. And you can move parts around, like, you can move them around with your character. But also, if you hold down the select button, at least for me, the cursor, but the move button, you can move them around, rotate them. And then, at least for me, the scroll wheel moves them up and down. Not sure what that is for Xbox or PS, whatever. Yeah, but that's just like a helpful little trick. It could help you, like, I don't know, put stuff down. It's not particularly useful, however, it is good if you want to, like, build something up high, maybe. It works sometimes. And you can, like, get things. And, like, sometimes they don't clip. It's very finicky how it works most of the time. But, yeah, that's that. Over here, though, we have this whole shack. If we just come over to it and hold in the select button, we get the whole thing. We can move the whole thing around. However, when you do place it down, a lot of the time, the functionality of actually placing it is not the best. So, what you could do, if you go over here and put down a concrete block, I don't know if this is going to work. It works sometimes, but, again, very finicky. And just placing things down in general. They want to clip long ways most of the time. They all have a mind of their own, and they do like to go against what you tell them. Put a door in, that, and then that should clip. We can get rid of this. So we hold in E, and now it fits most places. So we can move this little shack down into the river, and it should... Alright, there we go. Now we have a house on the river. You can do that. You can also hold in the select button, and if you hold in E, it does work a little bit with the cursor, but once you place it down, it does get a little difficult to move. So, like, just finding certain places it will go, it's not the best. So, you can move it around maybe like once-ish, but until then, it's not really the best. I don't know a fix for that. I'm not an expert base builder. However, I just came across a couple of tips and tricks that I thought I'd share with you. 2, 1. Okay, so another thing I came across is the ability to, like, clip through things like this tree here. Some buildings sometimes work. So if you go over here and you just have like a wood plank, you can't place that through there. You can't place it in there. Even if you, like, get a cement block, that's not gonna work. And just to show you, it's not gonna work in there either. So what you could do is if you place down like a cement block, and look, we're gonna use the tower technique. We're just gonna build a 2 concrete block tall tower. Like that. Scrap those. And then what we could do is we could get some wood. Just something like that. Again, the scroll wheel, even if you're not holding an E and moving it around independently, you can use the scroll wheel to move stuff around so you can get farther away. Now, going back on the thing I just showed you, if you hold in the select button, you can move it around, and you can get it to clip into this tree. Now, you won't be able to add anything else to the platform. It will be completely blocked, if you will. So, you're going to want to build your base and then add that to the tree. So, you'll build your base, you climb up here, and then now we're up here in the tree. And to show you that it will not work, I stand corrected. Nope, it still does work. Okay, so I was wrong. You can still build up here. Certain places I guess won't work. And when you're done, you could get rid of these concrete blocks and just have like a little staircase. And now you have a tree house. This thing, it does occasionally work in buildings and other pre-generated structures. We're only going to go with 1 tall. And we'll go with 2x2. And if we hold an E, we can clip it through the house. So this technique is good for pre-generated structures. This doesn't really have any practical use. It is just stuck in here now, so we will get rid of it by storing it in the workshop. And yeah, I think that's that. It's pretty useful. Again, pre-generated structures, tree houses, clipping into buildings, adding to buildings if you want to like maybe put a roof or something. I don't know, I'm sure you could find a use, probably a better use than whatever I did, but yeah. Alrighty, so this technique only applies to the castle. Again, hopefully I put a little title scene, but minor spoilers. So, right here is castle. I did a bit of work on the base, but if you watch my Let's Play series, a Fallout 4, obviously, you can see this. But, this is the castle. It's a quest for the Minutemen. It's a fortress that has been run down, and there are these big holes in the wall. And big holes in the wall are never really good for anything. People can just waltz on in and attack you. So I did a bit of testing, and I did figure out a way to make things better. So if we go over to my favorite concrete blocks, I use those rather often, and what we could do is we just place down like 3 concrete blocks here, maybe even 4, and hold them all in. Do we have all the block? Thing is, we picked that one up on accident. We don't want that one, so we gotta clip that there, and now it's independent. So we pick this up, and we get it so that way it is in the wall. And there we go. And then what we could do now is if we just take this one out, you'll see it's flush with the ground. It sort of fits, although this is a little too close. So what we're gonna want to do is put this piece of the wall back in, and then stand back, pick it up, make sure we don't have anything else grabbed. Alright, so then we'll kind of want to line it up, put it down, and bring it close to the wall, but not so it clips through. Put that down. Now that side is still there, so then we will want to... It's all about finicking around. That's a big, important step to actually any base building in Fallout 4. No matter what base you're at, there will be like awkward placements, and you just gotta be finicky. So once you get it to something that looks generally like this, you can't climb up it. And even if you can, their AI is not nearly good enough. But if you're really picky, you could do a bunch of fine-tuning, so you can't get up there. You might be able to get in there just because the way that brick is, but that's fine. And you could just like get rid of this. Notice how it's flush with the ground. It looks relatively natural, nothing too impressive. And you can get up over here, but they're not going to be attacking from the inside. And then just for added features, maybe like put a ladder here or there, so you can hop on up. And then if you go over to defense, turrets, maybe put like a machine gun turret, or if you really want to, you could put like a missile turret if you have gun nut 3. And since I don't really want to put down 2 of those, so just put down like a machine gun turret 2, and then hook up a wire. Realize you don't have a wire, so you put that away, and then you just put down a machine gun turret. And then that way, you got like a wall here. It looks like you kind of repaired the walls of the castle. And then you just have some defense, and it's better. I will now go show you some of the other walls that are broken. probably be better if I go from the outside so you can see it. But over here there's a wall. This one I had to put 2 separate walls. This one sorta didn't clip. Well, like, it did clip, but it's like stuck in the ground and looked weird. So if you just do that. Now this wall actually is one of the best looking ones in my opinion. It's pretty good. We can get out of this menu so we can sprint. Over here is the main entrance. This is where most enemies will attack from. So I figure it's best to put in a couple turrets and stuff. Heavy laser turrets and 2 missile turrets. They seem to work the best for me. But that's besides the point. You can put whatever turrets you want. It's up to you. Got another wall here. You can climb up here. But if you do make it to this, you will be destroyed by any guns you have. And I believe that's all in terms of turrets. So I think that's all for the castle. Concrete blocks, one of the best. They match the colors very well, and they look very nice. Alright, so one other thing I'd like to mention is perks. Now, if you're very into base building, which it's one of the better features of Fallout, one of the cool ones, I personally like it. In fact, it may be one of the best features. Some perks I recommend: local leader. I will go and show you them. Spoilers, if I didn't mention it. Good ones I recommend very much is down here, local leader. It requires charisma level 6. And then 2 more perks, local leader. The first one lets you do supply lines, which are major, and then shops, which are pretty good as well. Another good one is scrapper. Or not, well, like scrapper, that one would be good, so you can find items and scrap them. And that is level 5 intelligence. And somewhere around here, I'm sorry for not being super prepared, but it's scrapper. I'll just look around a bit for it. I don't want to take too long. But you have to trust me. Scrapper is here. Oh yeah, here it is. Scavenging stuff, it helps so you can select stuff and it shows up. Scrapper, scavenger, local leader. I think of scavenger. But those are some of the good perks. So over here, for supply lines, you may notice I have a lot of settlements, a lot of supply lines set up. And supply lines are super useful because they share inventories across all of your settlements. So, say here at Abernathy Farm you have 7,000 food. Now, if you go over to another settlement, say Sanctuary and Starlight Drive-In, you have 0 food. The food here will share between them, but even if you go into the menu and look up top, it says food 10. Say you go to Starlight Drive-In and it says food 0, but it's still green. It means this food is carrying over, but it won't show it. Same with the inventory. So say in here you have fertilizer, 5 melons, and pure water. Any other workbench, you won't see that. You won't see these exact ones. However, if you want to build, say, not what I wanted. Say you wanted to build a melon house, and you needed 4 melons. No, you needed 10 melons, and you only have 5 in one other base. These 5 would carry over, but you wouldn't see them in the workshop. So it connects all the inventories, but you can't see it. That's a good one. So, a good tip would be have a settlement. Some of the better settlements actually would be, if we get the supply lines up, Abernathy Farm and Greentop Nursery, they have a bunch of food, and at least with Abernathy Farm, you can plant a bunch of food. So if you go into the workshop menu and go over to resources, food, the best food source is Mutfruit Plant. They provide 1 food, everything else provides half, if you're looking at what it produces. So if you just go around and just plant like a bunch of these and get settlers over and working on them, it will create a bunch of food that you can share between resources. It works for food and water as well. Good places for water. Sanctuary has a little river, you can put water there. The best one would be Spectacle Island. Now, I could go into great detail about this place, sorry about that. But this whole island is a workshop. It's pretty good. And you have a bunch of water around it, so you can put some of the really big water generators. Although, you may need, you'll need rank 1 science, but it provides 40 water. And then with that, you'll get purified water in your workshop, and also with food crop plants, you'll get the food in your workshop. So then that way you can get food and water dispersed throughout Another thing that would be good, well, it'd be these. If you go into power, all the way over to miscellaneous, a recruitment radio beacon. These are really good. Circuitry, crystal, copper, steel, ceramic. Nothing too major. But if you put down one of these, and then just put down even the smallest generator will work, and just hook it up, it will call settlers around, and they'll be attracted to your place, and it'll increase the population by a lot. So that's going to be one of the first things you want to ever put down. Power and defense that is not shared through supply lines. That's for each individual settlement, along with settlers. However, if you do go into the crafting menu, certain settlers you can move and put a supply line. To move them, at least for PC it's R, but some of these guys, they're permanently stuck here. But random settlers, you can move throughout settlements and set them on supply lines. Once you put them in a supply line, they become a provisioner. They can walk around with a pack mule. I believe one did just walk by here a little bit ago. You may have noticed it. If I decide to edit it in, I could edit a pic. Oh yeah, here we go. So we have a pack Brahmin here, and they'll just walk between settlements simply for aesthetic purposes, and the provisioners cannot die. That's just a point I wanted to point out. The provisioners, they'll share the resources between the settlements, food, water, and all that stuff. However, they won't actually have it on them, and it is all aesthetics. I believe that's all I wanted to go through here. Just here, a little tip. Beds, that's straightforward. As many people as you have, that's how many beds you'll need. Beds are not shared between supply lines, obviously. And sleeping bags are probably the best beds. They count as a bed, and they only require a bit of cloth. And they're really small. And also I'll just put down like a turret here to show you stuff. And now you see everything's green, which means this place is good. Now, for defense to officially be considered good, I believe it's you add the food and water together and multiply by 2. So for this to be 19 plus 3, and that's 22 times 2, which is 44. So you need 44 defense. However, that's excessive, and you only need like a few good turrets. And I think that's just about it for settlements. If there's anything else, I'll just, I don't know, probably add in another clip. So, yeah. Okay, everybody, well, I want to thank you all very much for enduring through this. Hope you learned something. I enjoyed teaching you. This is like my first real tutorial, and I feel like I put forth a couple of cool things. Before I go, I do want to mention one important factor. Every time you get a new settlement, you'll want to scrap everything. Especially if you hover over it in the editing menu and there is a yellow outline, it means you can't move it, can't store it, can't do anything. You can't hover scrap and get resources. Unless, however, you do want to keep it for aesthetic purposes, like trees, and maybe you want to keep like a cool shelf or something, I don't know. But that's a good way to get resources. A lot of places have like broken cars, and at least with Sanctuary there are broken houses and stuff. You can scrap those to get a lot of materials. Any big base you want to build, you're going to need a lot of materials. Copper's a big one, so anytime you see copper, want to pick it up. Aluminum's also pretty good. Granted, all the materials are important. Wood and steel being big ones, you want to have big quantities of those, as they are most of the big walls, floors, ceilings, what have you. But yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. If you like, please leave a like. If you didn't like, do nothing. Subscribe if you haven't. And see ya.